Welcome to another one. This one is for my job hunting diary, and so I'm gonna put a stopper on the credit score journey because I fine tuned my formula after the last month, and so here is the thing in a nutshell. And of course, I'm doing professional development at Harvard University Law School. I got to finish that up. But what good has come of all of this? Um, other than ultimately, I have more cash. All right. Um, when you like to have more cash without making more money, well, we've been able to cut our credit bill in half. Just more cash. Now, if you're not looking to move to another town, imagine what you can do with more cash where you are right now. But since I'm looking to move to the US, I mean, I just have more cash. I can hop on a train or a bus or a plane and spend a weekend in New York just checking it out before I get there. I just have more cash. So 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 aside from the credit score thing, I just have more cash. Okay, so that's pretty good. And also Harvard professional development. You guys take it for granted. Harvard doesn't give you cash, but boy, man, what do they call that? What do they call that? But boy, what you can do just walking around your neighborhood with Harvard on your certificate. Boy, oh boy. Okay. All right. So those are the real things. This job for job hunting, and so when you hear like in the news, right, or economists or the politicians, they talk about real, like there's financial and monetary, and then there's real. The real dollars, the real food basket, are what I'm referring to. Harvard professional development, more cash. Monetarily, I look the same on paper, right? Monetarily, on paper, I look the same, right? Financially, on paper, I look the same. Real, I've been able to move things around. Now I'm in Harvard professional development program, and I got more cash. So there's monetarily, the country might look the same, but real, you each household's been able to move things around. So now their kids are in Harvard, and you just got more cash. But there's no growth in the GDP, in anything else. There's no growth in the GDP, but each household is being able to get their kids into Harvard, and they got more cash. All right. So the street crew has won. The elitists have lost, and the street crew has won. The GDP has not changed, but we've been able to move things around so that now our kids are in Harvard and we got more cash. So the elitists have lost, the street crew has won. All right, so to put a cap on my credit score, my formula is pretty good, not down to the last digit, but it's able to predict the range. So my monetarily, right? My range is fair, and my formula also says I'm fair. Like 707 is the formula, is what the formula spits out. 707. The actual number 695. They're both the fair range, right? So my formula is pretty accurate. It doesn't take into account what's missing. It doesn't take into account history, right? 20 years of credit. It doesn't take into account some other stuff. It only takes into account outstanding balances and payment history, delinquency or derogatory accounts, right? So only two factors it takes into account. The other things I let go. So it has, my formula has me in a fair range. My actual score is actually in the fair range as well. Actual score is 695. My formula says 707. All right, so it's workable. I can use it reliably. It's not GPS, more like compass. All right, so even if I were to double my debt ceiling, my formula tells me it won't improve my situation, right? So the only way for me to get out of the fair range now is to pay down what I owe, my balances. So there is a limit to doubling and tripling and raising your debt ceiling. Because I put in some numbers, like what if I doubled my debt ceiling, went out and got a credit card with like $100,000 limit, no change, and just don't use it, right? No change. The only way to change my credit score now is to start paying off my balances. So there is a limit to that debt ceiling part of the credit score. So that's where we stop. That's where I stopped this journey with my credit score. From here onwards, the only way to improve my credit score is to pay down my balances. Opening new credit cards won't change my credit score. But let's go back to what I was speaking about before. There's more cash because I'm trying to move my balance from one credit card that's 20% interest to one that's 9% interest. And that will give me a ton of cash. So I still have a balance of whatever it is, right? The balance amount hasn't changed, but because I'm moving it to a lower interest credit card, I got a ton of cash. Because the minimum payment now is really high. I move it to a low interest credit card. The minimum payment is like practically nothing compared to what I'm paying now. That means I got a ton of cash just for myself. So just like the economy, the GDP, my GDP has not changed. But I've been able to move things around. Then now my kids are in Harvard, and they got tons of cash. I'm not asking G.I. Joe to do this. I'm doing this. And what we find is my GDP has not changed. But now I'm in Harvard. Never in their wildest dreams, even if they were billionaires, but they're like dumb as shit, never will they get into Harvard. At the same time, I got a shitload of cash. And how do I know they'll probably let me do it? This credit card, the new one, is for that. And of course, you gotta pay a fee, right? $30 or $60, what have you. But it's designed so that if the minimum payment is reduced, you pay off more of the principal. And why do they want to do that? Other than they're not pimps. Because when households are in debt, it makes the whole country vulnerable. You know what I mean? Other than that they're not pimps, why do they let you borrow and not just string you along for the rest of your life? Because when Americans are in debt, the country, the morale, their strength is more vulnerable. So you let somebody borrow money within reason because you don't want the GI Joes to go to war all stricken and all stressed out. The best you can say is they're not pimps, but that's really why. Then the bank's got your mom, you know, and now they want you to go fight for them, right? So it's good for the country. You want to be able to talk this way? Go to school, get your degree. I'll see you guys later.